Today, we're just gonna very quickly talk about some of the great benefits that you could get by using something like this, the Linksys Velop, or really any other mesh Wi-Fi system. Stay tuned. What's going on, guys? It's Crazy Dog here, and like I said before, today I just want to do a very quick, candid sort of style video talking about mesh Wi-Fi and why I finally made the switch. Now, if you guys aren't a stranger to the content, and actually if you are, link to the playlist will be down below, but you'll know that I'm no stranger to reviewing Wi-Fi routers on this channel. I've done quite a few from Linksys, and I've done a couple from Netgear as well. Now, throughout my ownership, they've all done a great job, but I have very particular needs within my household. I have some dead zones that are just very, very hard to get rid of. So I used to use actually a couple different things, and we'll go over those first. We're gonna set this box aside for a second. So the router that I've been using for the last little while was this guy right here. This is the Linksys EA8300, and it's one of their newer sort of top of the line MacStream routers. Now, this supplied me connectivity in my office and for most of my upstairs as well as my basement, but to supplement sort of the top corner of the house, I actually went ahead and I used this guy right here. Now, I can't remember the exact model number. It's probably printed on the back here, the RE7000. Now, this as well is one of Linksys' MacStream Wi-Fi extenders. And this package together is supposed to seamlessly hand off your connection when you're out of range of this guy up to this guy and vice versa. And the pair together, again, it did a pretty good job, but I still had some dead zones in my house. So to again further supplement that, I went ahead and I used this pair here. Now, this is a Powerline Adapter from Netgear, or sorry, from TP-Link. Now with these guys, I would use this sender, and what it would do is send the internet over to this guy here in another room using the same sort of electrical wiring within my home, and that allowed me Wi-Fi as well as some gigabit Ethernet ports on the bottom. The issue is using either one of these, or maybe this combo or this combo, I'm sure would have worked fine, but using all three caused some issues. And what I noticed more often than not was it wasn't handing from this guy over to this guy, or maybe I would come into my driveway and for some reason it would connect to this even though it's on the other side of my house, and I would have latency issues, I would have slow speeds, I would have disconnects, and finally, enough was enough. So I went ahead and I actually reached out to Linksys, and they went ahead and they sent out the Velop system. Now, this is not a sponsored video or anything like that, and truth be told, it's not even going to be a review, at least not yet. But what I've noticed is there's not a lot of people talking about this particular mesh system, or really mesh systems properly. So what exactly is a mesh system? Well, rather than going with a traditional router, which is kind of one access point, and having that hand off if there's difficulties to another access point like this guy here, like a range extender, what a mesh system does is it creates a network based on a variety of nodes. Now you're gonna notice this package here, based on the front, it does come with 2 nodes. You can get them in a 3-pack. You can also get supplementary nodes, so you can add one at a time, and you can actually get 2 2-packs and give yourself 4. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. But what this does is this actually creates a dedicated connection in between every single node, and it tries to blanket your environment with Wi-Fi. And these guys here are advertised to give you full Wi-Fi speed. The 2-pack is showing roughly about 4,000 square feet, and I believe it because this actually fixed all of my issues. Let's take a very quick look at an unboxing because I've already got this set up. I'm already testing it right now, and yeah, let's see what you get in the box. All right, so that was just a little unboxing tour. To go into maybe some further detail about the mesh system and how to set it up, it's extremely straightforward. Now, you're going to notice on the front here, you do have your node or your tower. Now, the only slight downfall, and I will kind of put this more so at the start of the video than close to the end of the video, is each node only has 2 Ethernet ports. Now, that may not be a bad thing for a lot of people, but keep in mind on your main node, on the one that actually communicates with your ISP provided modem or maybe your ONT, depending on what you have for internet, one of those Ethernet ports is actually going to be utilized to intake that connection to allow it to be used as a router. Every other node is truly wireless. You only have to have supplementary power. You don't have to have an Ethernet jack going into it. They'll all communicate themselves through their own frequencies using the quad-core processors and software and all that good stuff that are inside. But for me, I have a PS4, I don't know if you can see it back there, and my PC. And unfortunately, I had to go hardwired on my PC and then Wi-Fi on my PS4 until I get a switch. So keep that in mind. If you guys need in your main environment more than really one Ethernet port, you're gonna actually wanna grab a switch when it comes to purchasing this as well to make sure that you have everything ready when it comes time to set up the overall package. Now, speaking of setup, it was honestly extraordinarily easy. All you have to do is plug the power into the wall, plug the Ethernet into your modem or your ONT. For myself, I use the Linksys app, signed in with my existing account, and you're gonna see some lights flashing on the top of the node itself. Once it goes hard purple, it's able to be connected to, and then from there, it's really just hitting next a couple of times and you are all set up. When you go to set up supplementary nodes, again, you sign in, you say you wanna add something else to the network, it's going to set it up. Now, one thing I noticed with these guys here that differed a little bit from something like this, I've used 2 different range extenders from Linksys in the past, and they actually have something built into the setup software that tells you the best spot to actually place the repeater during the installation. I did notice that you actually didn't know whether or not you were optimally connected until you had the node all set up and all set up through the app. Now, because it's kind of plug and play, you could disconnect it, move it into a new area, plug in the power again, and then just check the signal. But that was something that I found kind of strange, so just a little note to that as well. If you guys want a full breakdown of the installation, setup, tutorial, all that good stuff, honestly, Linksys has you covered on their manufacturer website. I'm not gonna bore you with all the details. Now, some things that I have gone through and I have realized through the light testing that I've done is the room that I have the most trouble with, which is actually my daughter's bedroom. I was getting roughly through sort of this whole combination that I had before, about 25 to 50 megabits per second on her desktop computer. Now, it's just used for YouTube and The Sims, so it really wasn't a big deal, but it would connect and disconnect quite often using the old setup, and DRM locked games would actually end up kicking her out sometimes. With this guy here, I'm happy to say when I ran a speed test today, I was pulling about 130 megabits per second. The software for Linksys as well in the Linksys app will actually have a built-in speed test. Now, I'm fortunate enough to have gigabit internet. When I ran the speed test through the software itself, I was getting right around 850 for upload and download out of my possible, 940. You're never really gonna get advertised speeds at that height. It's always up to, but that's still really, really good. So the Velop system really doesn't have any difficulties handling speeds like that. Running a speed test on my desktop, I was getting about the same. I was getting roughly about 800. Now, again, keep in mind that my television within my home is also IPTV. It's also running over the internet. And I do have a couple cable boxes that are really going live all the time, even when the TV is off. And then there's tablets and phones and computers. So there is a lot stressing my network at any given time. So I'm not surprised that I'm not necessarily getting advertised speed. So other than the overall setup, this guy here does have some really neat features. It does have security built in, which is really great. And they do advertise these as self-healing. And now what that means, and maybe not so much with a 2-piece system, although theoretically it will work, but if you have 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth nodes, and one of them happens to disconnect, what's going to happen is it's not going to crash your entire network, which is something that would have happened maybe with something like this guy here if this was my only connection point and I was too far away from the router. What will happen is all of the other nodes will just seamlessly pick up the slack. They're going to be broadcasting their own Wi-Fi signal. They're all going to be overlapping, and again, just blanketing or creating a mesh, hence the name, all around your house. So you're really not going to experience any downtime. The app also allows you to go in, set your prioritization. Man, that's a tough word this late. Prioritization. So I have my PC prioritized, which is something that I always do, and it was very, very easy with the application. You can see everybody that's on your network. You could do MAC filtering. It's fully qualified for 4K streaming, for gaming. Really, everything that you want a router to do, this guy will do. Only I find the software is easier to use. Maybe if you're just a novice to sort of intermediate when it comes to software. If you're an expert, of course, you can go in, you can tinker with some more advanced settings as well. But overall, my experience in the last day has been great. I'm honestly getting 5 bars all around my house, which was something that I never was able to do with my previous concoction. I would always have to manually connect and manually disconnect depending on where I was in the house. And I was using a lot of my cellular data just because I was so frustrated with the way that everything was set up that I would just disconnect and just use that. And unlike the States and Canada, no, we don't have unlimited, although I have 17 gigs, enough to play around with. But either way, this guy here really saved me. And the big benefit is if my lifestyle changes, if I need more reliability, if I need more coverage later on down the road, now I'm not repurchasing a whole big unit like this every single time I want to make changes. It's as easy as picking up a second node or even a 2-pack, connecting those all around the house, plugging them in, waiting for the light to go purple, going through that setup, and very quickly I've now extended my network without repurchasing and resetting absolutely everything up. So truthfully, this thing is a must. I really like this one, although I of course have not used the Google Wi-Fi. I know Asus has one as well. There's a lot of different mesh connections out there, but given my track record with Linksys, I know they make solid products. I do believe in what they're doing, and their support is honestly top-notch. So I went with this guy here, and I'm not looking back. This thing is absolutely phenomenal. So if you guys want to see speed tests, if you want me to disconnect a node and reconnect a node, please let me know in the comments below, and I will have no problem doing that for you. If you want to go ahead and watch some other videos, again, there will be some playlists linked in the description. If you like punk music, check these guys out here. And other than that, actually, you know what? If you want a cool chair like this, I'll throw some links down there as well. But that about wraps up this video. Again, it's not necessarily a review. It's more so an overview, how the mesh system operates, what I think of it, what my first impressions were, sort of a small unboxing. And I hope this has helped you even a little bit in some of your purchasing decisions. So if you liked the video, go ahead and leave a like. If you disliked it, well, then there's that button too. Hit that bell icon to make sure that you're notified whenever I put out brand new content. And until the next video, my name is QuasiDog. You guys have been awesome, and we'll catch you all in the next one. Take care.